Okay, this is how to copy quizzes and then create restrictions on quizzes. If there's anything, um, any classes or like sections of classes that you don't want to go to, like if you've got a below basic group and you have a slightly more advanced quiz for the basic or the advanced kids, then and you don't want to give this to them, you can restrict it. Okay, so what I would do is I would go in and I would let's say I wanted to copy a quiz. So I'm going to manage my quizzes. And then I can click on more actions, and then I would click copy. And then it gives me a list of the quizzes that I can copy from. Okay. And so if I wanted to copy, say, this participation quiz, I would make it. I would keep it inactive until I needed it. And then I want to be able to edit my quiz after after the copy completes. So I'd save. And then it gives me all the information. So it says copy. I just rename it to whatever I want. So I might change it to 10 to participation. So you can add a category for where you want it to be in the grade book. Okay. I just keep mine in participation. I just make one and keep them all there. And then I can add and edit my questions from there. Add and edit. So I can change it. And so I might say something like, okay, I want to change it to 10 2, and I want to change my code word to plant. I don't know. And I save it. And then it asks you where you want to save it. Do you want to save it in the old quiz or do you want to save it on the new quiz? You want to save it on the new quiz. Okay. And then you could do the other one too. Done editing questions. Fantastic. And then, so when you go into restrictions, you can set it as having start dates, due dates, all of those things. Mine's inactive right now just because it was inactive from the one I copied. So you might you'll just change your due dates and your availability dates. So I might change it to like today's, and then here is where you can pick those groups that you just made. So like if I've got, classes that I want to release this quiz to, since it's only on one day, I can restrict here. So what you can do is you can go in and create and attach. So you can create just about any release condition that you want. You can, if they've made it through a checklist item, once they get to the end of, the learn component, you can assign the assessment. Class list, you want to look at who, and so this is where groups would come in. So that group enrollment, so you would select which groups you wanted to restrict that quiz to. So I would restrict the classes that had class today. And but there's also other options. There's a lot of stuff. So there's things like, you can release it once they get a certain score on a quiz, or if they get a grade value on a grade item. So it's up to you. There's a whole lot of release conditions. Okay. Now, the one thing that I need to tell you is that right here, there's this little drop down menu and it says all conditions must be met or any condition must be met. So all conditions mean that every single condition that you've listed has to be met before it can be released. Any condition means that it can take any one of these and pick that condition, and if it's met, then it will release it. So you need to be really careful with that because you want to make sure that it's any condition is met, unless you have something like, you want them to have made it through the assessment or the learn portion of the module, and they've made a certain grade on a former assessment or something like that. Then you can do that. And you can also remove all conditions if you don't want any conditions on it. And once you create conditions, they're all in your existing. So you don't have to go through that list again and be like, oh, which one is that? And so here they all are. And you can attach any of them. Other things that might come up, make sure that you, So this. So once you've made your grade item, so let's say I would make a grade item for this, and I would say, okay, my grade item is going to be participation 10-2, right? That was the date I put on there. Oh, wait. 19. You can pick which category it goes in. So participation quizzes. You can get here, do all your stuff. Grade item is always visible. Let's just hide this grade item for right now because I don't really want anybody to see it. Okay. And so you can give your attempts and everything like that. I always allow automatic export to grades just because then it populates and I don't have to worry about it later. It doesn't wait on me with a submission. And then the other thing that you need to do is you would go into grades. Oh, wait, I didn't save and close. Save and close. Okay, so then you'd go into grades. Beep, 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 beep. And you have to have the same release conditions for the grade item. Okay, so you would only release it to certain classes or certain groups or certain, under certain conditions. Okay, but since you've already made your conditions, when you made your quiz, you can just attach them easily. And so you would just go to your quiz. Our participation quizzes are down here. And so here's this one. I just need to edit my grade item. I just look over it, make sure everything's okay. Yep. My restrictions down here. And so here you would attach those conditions. Attach existing. And so I want to make sure it goes to the right groups. So today's classes are Red and Yellow Wednesday. And I would attach. And it must be any conditions met. And then there it is. And I would save and close. And it'll pop up just for those students on their plan, on their calendar. Okay. If you've got any questions, I'm always happy to help. So I'm hoping these help somebody somewhere sometime.